Who is Conna Walker?
Conna Walker is the founder of House of CB. We sell a dress every 30 seconds, and your favorite influencer and celebrity has probably worn our clothes.
Gigi Hadid,
Jennifer Lopez, Kim Kardashian.
You went from sketching dresses in your bedroom to building this multi-million-pound empire.
So I borrowed £3,000 off my mum and dad. At first, I was buying ready-made stuff and putting it on eBay.
How do you want someone to feel when they put on one of your dresses?
Confident, girly and feminine, kind of sexy. Beyoncé of the friend group.
You were a pioneer in the influencer branding.
I think that's actually what's made the brand successful.
What were some of the challenges you faced breaking into that international market?
Stressful, no.
Hi, I'm Abby Clancy and welcome to Exhibit A. Today, we're diving into the story of a remarkable force in fashion. From starting her brand, House of CB, at just 17 in her bedroom, to dressing global superstars. Conna has transformed her side hustle into a multi-million-pound empire. Known for empowering women with every design, she's redefined affordable luxury in one of the most competitive industries. Let's unravel the secrets behind her journey from market stalls in East London to international acclaim. Please welcome Conna Walker. So Conna, of course, I know who you are, but for those who don't, who is Conna Walker?
Conna Walker is the founder of House of CB, which is a women's wear brand. We've been in business for 15 years. We have lots of stores. We sell a dress every 30 seconds. And your favorite influencer and or celebrity has probably worn our clothes.
Okay, so you went from sketching dresses in your bedroom to building this multi-million-pound empire. Let's go back to the start. Where did your love of design come from?
I actually feel like I liked clothes when I was young. When I was a kid, I would just play dress up in all different things. I loved wearing really probably awful outfits, but at the time I thought they were great. So I really just like dressing up. And I think it just came naturally from that really.
You said your entrepreneurial spirit was lit around age 5 when you used to help your mum and dad on their market stalls. Talk me through that time and what skills that you learned.
Yes. Well, both my parents are entrepreneurial, so I think I picked it up from them. I think they trained me essentially in it. They had some market stalls. They had a bunch of different businesses. But I was always kind of at work with them before school, after school, and then when I was a bit older, obviously not 5, but when I was a teenager, I would help them in their furniture store. And so I kind of learn how to negotiate and kind of the basics of running a business. They weren't in fashion, but I learned how to run a business essentially, at least the very basics. I think I was lucky that I was able to learn from them.
Do you think without that upbringing, you wouldn't be where you are today?
Oh, for sure. I think it makes the world of difference. It's just kind of like having a mentor, isn't it? Somebody that can help you.
Although we try and mentor our kids and they don't listen. My husband was a professional footballer. My kids hate football. It drives me mad. I'm like, you should be in the garden playing footy with them every day.
Like, no, thanks.
Yeah, they're like, no. And if I say anything ugh, Mum, what do you know?
Yeah, no, I think there's obviously a natural affinity, something that you're born with. Because I kind of feel like entrepreneurship is still a bit of a talent.
Yeah, I think it's something you're definitely born with.
Yeah, it's something you either have or you don't.
Yeah.
But I was lucky that I had that kind of affinity towards entrepreneurship and also had parents who were entrepreneurs so I could learn the basics from them.
You didn't start school till you were 7. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't believe you even found that.
I've been researching you for weeks.
Yeah.
I'm very professional,
Yeah, so professional. No, I had started school and then apparently the school told me that, well, not me, they told my parents that I was dyslexic. And I'm not dyslexic. And then I didn't go back to school till I was 7.
Okay.
So I don't really know why that was.
So then you started buying clothes, selling them on eBay, starting this little business venture. And when those clothes didn't exist, you thought, right, I'm going to design my own. Talk me through that. How did you do it?
At first I was buying ready-made stuff and putting it on eBay. And that was selling well. I had my little BlackBerry and I would get my notification that it sold and I would list them and do all that stuff.
So where would you get these dresses from?
Oh, I got them from China.
But how
at the time.
How did you know where to go in China?
Yeah. So there was clothes markets there.
Okay.
And I would just go because I liked the clothes. And so I would go shopping there. And so I bought a bunch, put them in a suitcase, brought them back with me, and put them on eBay. And they did really well. And then I bought some more and, continued doing that.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I was like, okay, I want more of this type of thing or this type of thing. And I just couldn't find it. So then I just started designing some myself, which, like I've said, I don't really consider myself a designer. Very, very basic stuff. But yeah, so then I started making some of my own pieces. I found a manufacturer to make a few pieces for me.
Is this also in China?
Yes.
So were you on your own or did you have your mum and dad with you?
No, they were there for furniture.
Oh, okay.
They were buying furniture in China. So I would go and walk around the clothing markets and look for clothes.
Typical girl.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, I can sell these. So that's how I started doing that. And then, yeah, like I said, after a while, I was like, these just...
Not quite working anymore.
Exactly, not quite what I wanted. So then I started designing stuff. And then I found a manufacturer. And I was lucky that she didn't want too many. I think our initial order was like 30 pieces per style, which isn't very much.
So what would something like that cost at that time?
At that time, it probably would have been like, I don't know, £3,000 per style.
Yeah.
Ish.
So how did you navigate those early years of, getting your business off the ground?
I think it's funny because I never really in the beginning, I never really planned for it to be a brand.
Yeah.
Once I started designing, I was like, okay, then we need to make it a brand. But really everything I did, I just kind of tried and learned from trial and error. I didn't really have, I didn't have anybody that had done that kind of fashion business before.
Yeah.
So yeah, from eBay then I was just like, okay, I think we need our own website. And so I had a little website built and I would do all the graphics and all the imagery and stuff myself on it. Learned very basic code to just put some images in. And I just took it step by step. I think I didn't try to get really big straight away.
Run before you could walk.
Yeah, I just kind of
So did this feel like a bit of a hobby at this point?
It felt more than a hobby, but just like, oh, I can make money on this. I can keep doing this. And at the time it was before I was 17. So it was before or when I was applying to unis, I want to say, around the same kind of time. But I then decided that I didn't want to go to university and I wanted to carry on with House of CB, Celeb Boutique at the time. So
that presumably was because it was doing well and you were earning money.
Yeah, it was doing well.
And you thought I could grow this.
Yeah, but thinking back now, I was like, was that an irresponsible choice? Maybe.
Well, no.
It worked out, so it's fine.
Yeah. So how did you initially fund it all?
So I borrowed £3,000 off my mum and dad, which was really lucky that they could let me do that. And I didn't have to pay rent at home or anything. So yeah, I borrowed that. I paid them back within the first round of stuff that I sold on eBay. And then I just used that money from the stuff I sold to buy more stuff. Yeah. And like I said, I just took it kind of step by step. I didn't go in at hey, I'll do 100 pieces of this and 100 pieces of that.
Yeah.
I just did little by little and just grew.
Does the product quality need to be impeccable for a startup business?
I think it depends on what your product is. I think if you have a cheaper product, then your price point and your quality will kind of match up.
Yeah.
I think if you have a more expensive product, then your quality does need to match up to the kind of marketplace that you're in.
Yeah.
But I also think that if you're getting started, you should just start rather than waiting for everything to be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for it all to be perfect, it's not going to happen. But at the same time, I do think your product needs to be solid. You don't want to start with a shitty product.
And did you have your identity then?
I think it was something that we were still figuring out, but there's a lot of our core values that have stayed the same. So the products are very feminine.
Yeah.
We really focus on that hourglass figure and the waist cinch. And that's actually been the same from the beginning. And then the quality has also been a real focus from the beginning as well.
Yeah.
And even though I would say our quality now is outstanding.
It is.
Thank you.
It is. It's fabulous.
It was still good quality when we started, but we've just got better over time.
The business is growing. When did you hire your first employee and what was their role?
So the first person I hired was for somebody to answer the customer service. And then actually, surprisingly, the second person was a PR lady. And she, at the time, there was loads of like magazines, like in the UK, I think it was like Look and Now and that kind of thing. And she got us loads of placements in those. And I paid her for every placement that she got us.
Yeah.
And she did really well. And it did really well for us at the time. But those were the two that I started with. And that was once I moved from eBay to my own website.
And when you moved to your own website with your distribution, are you literally in your house packing boxes,
Yes.
going to the post office, sending them off?
Yeah, that's what I was doing for a while at first.
On what scale? Like how many dresses are we talking at this stage?
Not a lot. The first couple of years, like you could fit the stock in this room. Or people can't see this room, but it's not like loads. In the first couple of years. And then after the first 2 years, we got a distribution warehouse and started doing our own thing from there. But it's one of those things where if you don't have the infrastructure, you can't grow into it.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to invest in a little bit of infrastructure. Because if you want to sell more dresses, you have to have more stock.
Yeah.
And if you have more stock, you have to have somewhere to keep it. So if you don't have a bigger warehouse, you can't buy more dresses. And, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling circle. So, yeah.
What was some of the biggest challenges you faced then?
At that time, it was actually kind of establishing a name for ourselves and going from being like buying ready-made products that we didn't design to products that we did design. And then eventually we got rid of all the products that we didn't design to only do products that we designed.
Yeah, which is very unique.
Yeah, it's not a common kind of chain of events, I suppose. So at that time, it was quite difficult to get people to understand that, hey, we design all of our products, we make them in-house, blah, blah, blah.
Did you think perception changed then when people knew you were designing everything yourself and you weren't just buying it off the shelf?
Yeah, and we had to really let the customer know that point. And then we also changed names because it used to be called Celeb Boutique for the first couple of years. And then we changed to House of CB to represent that we were designing in-house.
Why did you change the name?
I just felt like it needed something new to show the new direction, that it was an actual brand rather than like buying the ready-made stuff. So yeah, it was mostly just to kind of represent that and to show that kind of change in direction.
For anyone listening who's got £3,000 in the bank and want to start their own brand, where should they invest that money? What is the first things they should be doing?
I think first thing first is product. If you haven't got a good product, you have nothing to sell. And £3,000 is not that much, realistically, in this day and age. So I think, product is key. And then I think all the marketing and stuff now, we live in a really good time. Well, it's a kind of a double-edged sword. With the marketing, you can do it all yourself at a relatively low cost. But of course, everybody can also do it all themselves at a relatively low cost.
How to stand out. And it's like such a, saturated
It's really saturated.
space.
But it does allow for so many people to enter the market. And if you're good, then you're going to
stand out.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Looking back at that time, what did you waste time and money on?
I don't know. I actually wouldn't say that there was too much that I wasted time and money on. I think that I had to do everything to learn everything, because obviously when you start and you don't know, you simply don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So you have to like do those things to figure out, hey, we're not going to do that again. So I wouldn't necessarily say that those things were a waste.
Yeah.
I tried lots of different things. We tried lots of different marketing. We tried lots of different products. Yeah, so I wouldn't really say anything was a waste. I think if I was to look back and be like, what would I avoid? I think I would just kind of pay more attention to what's selling, what's not, and have more strategy behind that in those early days. Because I was just like, oh, I like this, I like that. Oh. And they were just kind of like sporadic. But yeah, maybe just having a little more strategy to begin with and being a little more data oriented.
What is the key to building a great and a strong brand identity?
I think it's always reverting back to the same principles. So whatever your brand principles are, and I think for us, it's like being, like we said, being very feminine, that hourglass shape, and having really good quality. And those are our kind of 3 principles.
Yeah.
And so everything we do goes back to that. So we're like, does this photo shoot embody those 3 things? Can you kind of get that from this?
I love your campaigns.
Thank
they're always
you.
so gorgeous and sexy.
Thank you. Yeah, they're very girly. And,
Very girly,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, and it's like, does it come back to the brand? Does it make sense for the story we're trying to tell overall from the brand?
Yeah.
Does it fit the brand personality? I think everything you do, you have to ask that question. Does this product suit the brand? And if it's yes, then it's a good thing to do. And if it's a no, then maybe it's not something you should be doing. And I think if you consistently do that, then you end up building a strong brand understanding from the customer.
How heavily did you rely on social media?
Oh my God,
when you were
so
launching?
heavily. Yeah, we were really lucky that it was kind of when we launched, when we started, it was around the time when Instagram started becoming really popular.
Yeah.
So
And the time you didn't have to pay influencers 20 grand to
yes, exactly.
post.
And we had a bunch of like, at the time I was obviously in the UK, so it was a lot of like UK celebrities and stuff wearing our things and tagging us, and it was so impactful.
Who was the first celebrity to wear it in the UK?
I'm not sure. It might be Rochelle Humes, maybe.
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head now. But there was quite a few. No, maybe the Towie Girls. It might have been the Towie Girls. But there was a few all at once.
Yeah.
That like it just kind of hit it all at once. And at the time, everybody was like going out and being packed in Daily Mail, and they were all wearing House of CB on their nights out back when people used to go clubbing.
So how many dresses are you selling a year?
A lot. Last year we did about 200 million in revenue. So that works out at about one dress every 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
So a lot of dresses.
That is
Dresses everywhere.
incredible. Incredible.
Thank you.
You were a pioneer in that sense, I think, you know, that influencer branding. Do you think you would have had as much success if you were starting now?
I think, yeah, it's still possible to still create a really big brand.
Yeah.
I think the market just continues to change, and like people get used to social media, but then, for example, now there's TikTok, there's all these other platforms.
Yeah.
And people are more open to buying from small independent brands. And like I remember when I started, people would always be like, is this a safe website to buy from?
Yeah.
And now people never consider like, is this a safe website? Whereas years ago, it used to be like,
I do. I'm still waiting for these Squishmallow advent calendars that I bought off some rogue.
Yeah, and you're just like, now we just buy on any website.
Yeah, it's like 10 days till Christmas and we're still not here.
So I think there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
People trust so much more easily now. And so you can kind of build a small brand and people are really happy to support it. Whereas like 10, 15 years ago, people were like suspicious. Like, what is this? We only buy from brands we trust. So
yeah,
it's both. I think it's possible either way.
Okay, so living in a digital era where everything be accessed by a click of a button, how important is having a social media presence? And do you think that without it, your brand would be a success?
As a brand, I think you need a social media presence.
Yeah.
Even if your brand is more luxury and not so commercial, I think you still need a social media presence. And I think people use social media as even like search engines now. And so you need to be there. And then as a brand owner, I don't feel that it's essential to be. I don't love forward-facing, like owner forward-facing brands.
Yeah.
I think it works if you're already established as like a celebrity or a big influencer or something like that, and then you release a product line, then obviously you'd want to be attached to it.
Yeah.
But I think if you are just a business person that's kind of behind the scenes, that putting yourself before the brand can kind of just detract from the brand, and then you become more of a personality, and then the brand will struggle without you being in front of it all the time.
Yes.
Which, as you have a bigger brand, it's really difficult to find the time to like do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if it's dependent on you marketing it, then it's going to struggle to grow.
So what challenges did you face as a young female entrepreneur? Were you ever not taken seriously? You know, you're making party dresses.
Yes. Yeah, no, there has been some times. I mean, I think overall I'm lucky that obviously I decide who I work with. I decide who works at House of CB. So people who have that attitude don't get to work with us.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. But there's definitely been times where I have been interacting with people and you can tell that they are not. There was one time I was going to rent this store in LA, and it was a really big unit. And we spoke to the landlord and we were having meetings back and forth. I think it was actually COVID time, so it was like Zoom. And he just refused to acknowledge me. And he kept going back to our realtor, who is a man, and kept like asking him the questions. And I'm like, hello. He's going to ask me, hello. And I didn't want to take the unit after that.
Not surprised.
So there's been times where that kind of thing has happened. But like I said, it's fortunate that I have the control, that I don't have to work with people that I don't like or that don't see the value in us. And that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Not everybody is for everybody. But I think that if you're working in a business that's not your own, that's obviously more difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you find working with influencers as effective as it was back then?
Yes and no. So I think as well, obviously we were smaller. So when people would tag us, we would feel it more.
Yeah.
Because like if there was 10 people on the site and then there was 50, you would notice it. But if there's 10,000 people on the site, if they send an extra, 300 people, you don't really notice, So I think it's changed and it continues to change, and it's a market that will continue to evolve. And obviously there's so many more influencers now. So it's kind of like their
and now you have to pay them?
We don't do lots of paid.
Oh, really?
We do a lot of organic. We do some paid, but we do mostly organic, which is very lucky.
So how has social media changed from when you started the brand to now?
I think, you always have to evolve with the marketplace of whatever you're doing. And I think kind of like we've said, it's super saturated now. And there's so many more platforms as well.
Yeah.
And like it changed. I think when I started, it was very like Facebook. Everybody was very Facebooky.
Yeah.
And then Instagram kind of picked up and took the lead. And then obviously now there's TikTok. And so there's constant changes in terms of like the content expectations from the customer. And I think as well, actually, people have started to get a little bit of like content fatigue, maybe. Yeah. And like we see so much stuff all the time that it's kind of overwhelming. And then for a brand as well, like years ago, you wouldn't have to produce so much content.
Yeah.
And now customers want new content all the time.
And I think they like organic stuff.
Yes.
If I post like a photo shoot picture or me just in the mirror, like with the dress on, it gets so much more.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I really do.
Yeah.
I should do more. I should do more. But I've never dressed in my house.
No.
I've never got makeup or clothes on.
I'm like, sorry guys, you're not going to see any
exactly.
of this.
You can't see me. Insta versus reality.
Yes. Yeah. But for brands, I think that that constant need to produce content and people's attention span is much shorter. And so it's a much bigger commitment than it used to be.
Yeah.
Before we could just post pictures and be like, this is our product. And now people are like, we want to see it worn in 18 different ways, in 5 different settings on 3 different platforms. So I think it's a much bigger commitment than it used to be.
So the unique thing about House of CB is that you design literally everything in-house. Why is that so important for you to do that and not just outsource it?
I think that's actually what's made the brand successful is that we have a unique understanding of the type of product that we want to make.
Yeah.
And we've always made products that you can't really find other places.
Yeah.
And we really focus on the quality and the fit. And we get duped all the time, but the dupe just doesn't hit the same.
Imitation is the best form of flattery,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you suing these people? Or are you just letting them off lightly?
We do. We
bit of both.
Sue, yeah.
Because I always, how does that work? Because, if you see a fashion show,
yes,
it's literally in the high street the next day.
There's obviously a difference between kind of like being inspired by catwalk trends and that kind of thing, which all of the fashion industry is realistically. It kind of like goes in cycles. And then there's a difference between that and then doing like actual rip-offs of exact products. So it's part of the business, of course. And being trend influenced and all that kind of thing is part and parcel of the whole business.
So who is your customer, would you say? Who is the CB girl?
I think she's someone that just likes to have fun and get dressed and have a good time and just really enjoy that fun of dressing up, I think.
Yeah.
And it's always very like girly and feminine. And probably maybe the Beyoncé of the friend group. I don't know. You know?
Talk me through the design process from start to finish. What was it like?
So it takes about 3 months for us to develop a product. So we have a London design studio.
Yeah.
So I don't design. I'm not a designer, but I direct our designers and I creative direct the brand.
Yeah.
So I decide what kind of product we want to be doing for this year or season or whatever. And then the designers come up with a bunch of designs and we pick from those and then we sample those and we work on them and spend about 12 weeks refining the fit and the finish and the quality and all that kind of stuff.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
Just kind of all over. We've had a few different eras. So like when we started, we were like bodycon, bandage. Yeah, super, super sexy.
I think I literally had every single one.
Yeah, all of us were just like out there, Louboutin, platform heels.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing.
Ridiculous.
Which I kind of loved. Iconic
But
moment.
my whole 20s was every image was a bandage dress.
Yeah.
Bandage bodycon.
It's like that was the whole
With the paint and Louboutin.
time. Yes,
in neon,
literally.
pink, yellow, orange.
And it'll be like 3 degrees outside and we'll just be like, I'm fine.
Yeah. Mad.
No, crazy. But yeah, so we've gone through a few different eras. So we had our bandage bodycon, and that was for some years. And then from I think about 2017, 2018, we introduced our like corsets.
Yeah.
And that had come about because I was on the flight and I watched a Vivienne Westwood documentary.
She's
and I was
incredible.
so obsessed with her.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And she was just so iconic and I obviously love the clothes. And I was like, oh my God, I love corsets.
I love corsets.
Corsets are just so good. And
So good.
They're almost like a little bit dress up. I don't know. It's
I know.
very fun
Yeah.
when you wear a corset. There's something about it that's just like, oh, yeah.
How do you want someone to feel when they put on one of your dresses?
I think I just want them to feel really, really good about themselves.
Yeah.
And I like it when we feel kind of sexy and we're like feeling ourselves and just good in yourself, confident.
Yeah.
And I think you just want to feel like your best self. And I think
of course.
when you're wearing something that makes you feel good, then you kind of radiate that out.
You do.
So that's what I always want to see.
Is there any designs that you've thought, oh, I love this and it hasn't been a hit?
Yes, we do that sometimes. I mean, we have to try new things and we always try and do different things before like other people do it. So sometimes, there's a little bit of a risk. And recently we had some Tudor-inspired pieces.
I love them.
I loved them. I thought they were
the
so
hole
cute.
there, the bells, the
Yeah.
minis.
So cute.
Incredible.
But then it went kind of viral on TikTok with people being like berries and cream, which is like berries and cream or something like that. Like a little meme thing. But anyway, they hated it, which is absolutely fine. Sometimes we get it wrong, but not very often. So
No?
that's okay.
I love those dresses.
Me too. Actually, lots of people have liked them, but lots of people have hated them. And it's just one of those things. We do a lot of good products, and sometimes maybe we'll miss the mark.
The
and that's
bridal
okay.
wear is phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually a goal of mine because I went to a few bridal like fittings or whatever with some friends when they were engaged, and the dresses are so expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive, and they're not even that good.
No.
And you're going to wear it once.
And they're old-fashioned.
Yeah, and the fabrics are horrible.
I think when you're a bride, you still want to look hot.
I think you still want to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
So that was a big focus for us to just kind of make bridal wear really nice, but a little more accessible. Because like, why do you don't have to spend $5,000 on a dress? That's crazy for a dress for one day for a lot of people. So,
but I think there is a big shift in the fashion industry now. You've got some of the big major house designers moving to the high street, and it feels like there's a lot more acceptance for smaller brands, and not everything has to come with a huge price tag.
Yeah, no, I agree.
As long as the quality, the cut, the fit is there, no one cares.
And I think that's the great thing about kind of social media and stuff, opening up the market to so many more brands, is it makes it more competitive and it allows for customers to have more of a choice. Because I think like when we were growing up, you would just shop on the high street. So it'd be like Topshop, I don't know, whatever, Miss 60.
Oh, I love Miss 60.
Yeah, but those were pretty much the only brands. There was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 stores to choose from.
Yeah.
And that's it. But now there's like hundreds of stores and you can buy from the US, Australia, the UK, wherever.
Yeah.
So it makes everybody more competitive and it also allows people to have more choice, which is a good thing.
Speaking of stores, you've got multiple stores all over the world.
Yes.
What did it feel like when it must be a different feeling going from like an online brand
Yes.
to walking into your first physical.
It's fucking stressful. No. No, we actually opened our first store was in Stratford in Westfield in Stratford, but it was, I want to say 10 years ago. So that was our first one. And then we opened one in LA in 2016. And then now I've got a store bug again. So
There's so many stores on the high street closing down.
Yeah.
But is that
Stores do really well for us.
Okay.
And I think that the reason lots of stores on the high street closed down is because they were older brands that perhaps didn't keep up with the times and the competitiveness of brands and like either online brands or independent brands. So then their market share kind of depleted.
Yeah.
And they didn't learn to keep up with the times and evolve. And so they shut down. And then now you're seeing younger brands and newer brands and independently owned brands. Like we have our Oxford Street store that we opened this time last year. And we've actually it was a pop-up originally and it's built out as a pop-up. And then we've taken the other.
Because the first time you went in store was in Topshop, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Years ago. But now Oxford Street, for example, is starting to fill up with more independent brands.
Yeah.
There's us, there's Manière Devoir, there's a bunch of different independently owned brands that have all opened up there. And I think that high street is rebuilding as more independent brands can open their own spaces. So I don't think it's a case that people don't want to shop in person. I think it's just that the offerings that were there before were not what they were looking for.
You go to America, take a load of dresses.
Yes.
And then you've got J.Lo, Beyoncé.
Yeah, literally everyone. And it all kind of happened in a bit of a flurry. And I literally did take them with me. And I remember I was living in the W at the time and there was some women there, living there or whatever, visiting there. And I paid the security to send some dresses up to them. And they took them and wore them.
Oh my God.
So that was when I felt like once we started getting all those big placements on all those people, I was like, oh, okay, I think we're really onto something here. And that was probably in 2015, 2016. And we got placements on everyone, which was incredible. And they were all organic. They weren't paid. And they just really loved the brand. And it was like every other day was someone new.
Why do you think House of CB resonated so well with the US market?
I think that it's actually the same reason that people have really kind of loved the brand from the start. And it's just that for women, having really well-fitting tailored clothes that give you a nice like waist cinch and all that kind of thing wasn't very common. And a lot of the times you have to get your clothes tailored. Yeah. And what we found, at least from what their stylists were telling us, is that they really enjoyed that they could just put a dress on.
And you're done.
And they're good. Doesn't need to be tailored. They don't need to do all the extra fittings and this and that. And so that's the feedback that we had, that they just loved that they could just put it on and they're good.
And while you're in America, everyone's wearing your dresses literally daily. They're popping up everywhere. Yes. How do you maintain that hype?
I think it's just kind of going with the times. And so we, like I kind of said earlier, we've changed our product over time. Obviously 15 years is a while. So we just kept evolving new product and developing into new product and testing different products to see what will work and what sticks and what doesn't and working further into that. And I think it's just constantly evolving, which is how you stay relevant.
Of course.
Obviously trends change, things change.
Do you follow trends?
Not massively. Like we do a little bit, but not really.
What is your number one selling dress?
Right now, for the so we first released our first cottagecore collection in 2019.
Is that the ruched?
It's all the floral stuff.
Oh yeah.
All the floral dresses.
God, is that when that was?
Yeah, the first one was in 2019, which is a while ago now, like 5 years ago almost.
Oh my God, time's flying.
I know. And we had tested the water with it in 2018.
Because that was quite
a different direction for us.
Totally different direction.
Yeah. And it's funny because obviously we started with the sexy bodycon and then we worked into corsets and that became our core product. And then the cottagecore was kind of a move on from the corsets because the cottagecore is all kind of corset based. But yeah, that became I guess it was really lucky that we did the full collection of it right when COVID hit. Not that COVID is lucky. But yeah, it was when everybody was locked down and there wasn't any nighttime parties and stuff. So these day dresses became the thing because everybody was doing, I don't know, barbecues in their backyard or doing stuff outside and in the day.
Yeah.
And so that, kind of became our core product. And that's been our core product for the last few years. And I'm sure we'll change it again and it will be something else.
Is there a difference between the US customer and market compared to the UK?
Yes, definitely. I think we find, interestingly with the US, there's also little pockets, like the LA market in comparison to like the New York market are different. But we also find like US and UK. The UK, I feel like we kind of just follow the US celebrity influencer-y culture.
Yeah.
Not 100% obviously, but the big A-list celebrities are all there. So we follow that more. And then I think the UK is more vocal about what they like and dislike about the brand.
Okay.
And the US is more like, oh, I love this.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
But I think that with Americans in general,
they're
very positive and they would welcome an idea, where in the UK they just, it's not the same.
They're a harsher critic, which I don't mind. I like the feedback, so it's always good to hear.
What were some of the challenges you faced breaking into that international market? Because you make it look so easy.
Thank you. No, I think actually like market-wise, where we're kind of all connected, the marketing side isn't so difficult. The US and UK isn't so different in that aspect.
Yeah.
We follow the similar celebrities, we have a similar lifestyle and that kind of thing. So in that sense, the products, like I didn't have to change our product offering, for example. But I do think that the logistics was quite a difficult task.
Yeah.
Because you want to have things delivered to them quickly, return depots, taxes, costs, all this type of stuff is where it gets a little bit more tricky.
Oh my God. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that was the more difficult part rather than marketing to the customer.
So how does that work? Do you just get a company in to sort all of that, or do you everything in-house?
We did everything in-house, but you can do that. It just
But presumably because of your background with your mum and dad, they kind of knew the ropes a little bit more than the normal person.
Yeah, exactly.
You have had some megastars wearing your dresses. Talk us through some of them starstruck moments when you went, oh my God, they're wearing my dress.
So Beyonce wore House of CB for like a week straight. She wore one to an awards ceremony. She was just like wearing it every other day, a week straight. Incredible. Every day I woke up and I was like, this
And did you not know?
Real. No.
So hairstylist isn't contacting you?
They had pulled stuff, but we didn't know that she was
guaranteed to wear
wearing it. Yeah, of course. And when we give stuff to stylists, we don't, we don't expect that they're going to wear it or not. So yeah, that was a whole week of that, which was incredible. And then when J.Lo was doing American Idol, she kept wearing House of CB for the shows.
Amazing.
And she tagged it for free, which was the absolute loveliest. And we would obviously gift her stuff, but she also would go when I think she had a residency in Vegas years ago.
Yeah.
And she would go to Topshop in Vegas and she would buy the clothes, and the store attendants would be like, no, we can gift you. And she was like, no, I love the brand.
That's
I want to
amazing.
buy it, which I thought was also just
She's got the perfect body for House of CB there.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, incredible. And then the other starstruck moments, we had Bella Hadid wear one of our cottagecore dresses this year. I am obsessed with her.
Yeah,
she's
incredible.
Fabulous. So gorgeous. Would love for her to wear it again and again. And then we've also had, we had Rihanna before, which also incredible.
Yeah.
And then we also had Taylor Swift wear some stuff this year as well, which was really, really nice. So yeah, lots of...
you used to be the fit model for your brands, didn't you?
Yeah. No, I used to try on every single piece, every single sample. And that is on perfectionism.
Yeah. But, without perfectionism, you probably wouldn't be where you are now.
Yeah, I think that's why people like the brand, because they know that...
It's authentic.
Yes. And they know that we've really spent a lot of time in getting it as perfect as we can.
So who is your dream girl to dress?
Who is my dream girl to dress right now?
Or, have you done it with Rihanna, Beyonce, J.Lo,
yeah,
Bella?
I would love all those girls again. They would be great. I think I would really love for Dua Lipa to wear some House of CB.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we've had her.
Is she not really? Is she not
I don't
one?
think so. but that would be lovely.
Dua, if you're listening, honey.
Yeah, please.
Get it on. You've scaled an enormously successful business. You've got multiple stores, millions of products are sold, multiple offices around the world, and the business turned over more than 250 million last year. What specific strategies and decisions have been most effective in transforming House of CB into a global brand?
It's a long time. It's a 15-year project so far. So, but yeah, I think the things that have made it successful is just constantly going at it.
Yeah.
And it's always been my number one focus. And I'm always working on it.
Do you have a life outside of the business?
Yes and no. Like, not really. But yeah, I'm lucky that now I have the freedom to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But the business still requires me to be present all the time. But I can be present through my phone on vacation.
Yeah.
So it's better.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's a bit of balance. But I think it's just always just pushing ourselves to be as best we can be, really. And just, we're always competing with ourselves. How can we do better than we did last year? What products can we do this year? How can we do this better? How can we do that better? And just always kind of pushing the envelope for what a commercial brand can do, realistically. And really just trying to always keep that quality focus.
Yeah. What is your role in the brand now? And was it hard?
Yes.
Handing the reins over to your team and being able to trust people to do the job as good as you?
Yes. I mean, I still struggle with delegating. I'm very much involved in lots of things. I kind of oversee everything.
Yep.
So I oversee the products we design and that we release. I oversee the collections. I oversee the production of the shoots. I oversee the marketing. And so all of those teams report to me for an overall approval. But it's one of those things. It's hard to find people that get the brand and get your vision and also understand where you want to take it. And I've said a lot about evolving your brand and stuff, and having people with fresh ideas that are good ideas is hard to come by. So it's one of those things that takes time to.
So it's not common to own your own factory. It's the size of 3 football pitches. It's pink. You've got your own golf buggy in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever
no.
go, oh my God?
Oh, absolutely. And it's stressful because you're like, oh God, what am I doing with all these people making all these clothes?
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice to have that control. And I think that's the one good thing about having your own factory is it's a lot more stress, but you do have a lot more control. You can control what you're making, what you want to make, what you don't want to make, when things come out. And you're not at somebody else's mercy if you're working with other factories.
Yeah. Are all the dresses made there?
Yes. Yeah. We use some out of house, but it's mostly all in our own factory, which is nice. Like I said, you can control the quality, you can control what you're making.
Yeah.
You have full control of everything. And then when you want to get bigger, you can make it bigger.
Yeah.
So obviously if you're, like we're in Nordstrom, Selfridges, a few other ones in other countries, which is names I can't remember, but we're in those.
Yeah.
And when you want to add like a new partner, then you have to have more stock.
Yeah.
And so when you own your own factory, you can grow into that space. You can make it bigger. And so it's easier to grow.
Yeah.
When you have your own. But obviously then you have to manage having your own factory.
And how many staff are working there?
Oh my God, thousands. Yeah.
My God.
It's a lot of people.
So you must have a lot of outgoings.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Stressed.
And a lot of responsibility given all these people jobs.
I mean, it's fine. As long as your incoming is more than your outgoing, that's the basics of business. Don't spend more than you earn.
Exactly.
And then you're good.
There's a lot of brands today which are being criticised for not having sustainability at the forefront of their designs or ethos. Is sustainability something that you think about within your business?
Sustainability in fashion is kind of a relatively new concept.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like greenwashing and stuff that goes on. And realistically, the production of new clothes is never going to be fully sustainable. Yeah. The most sustainable thing you could do is not buy anything new and just buy secondhand or just rewear what you already have. But we have been trying our hardest to kind of make it as sustainable as possible. And we've also really been focusing a lot on having more natural fibers in our garments.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our like spring summer collections, I think it's like 80% is cotton.
Wow.
So we're kind of focusing on that in terms of sustainability. And then of course there's also the case of making good products that last, that you want to rewear a few times at least.
Yeah.
And so that's a real big focus for us, to make things that actually, like, it's not a one-time wear, it's not going to end up in landfill. You buy something you love and you can wear it again and again. You'll wear it on your birthday, you might wear it at Christmas, you'll wear it to someone else's birthday.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part of encouraging people to actually really get use out of their clothes.
Yeah, I agree with that. On reflection, what do you think's been your biggest challenge?
Not getting disheartened over time and just... It's a lot. It's like having a big company is a lot, and it's a lot of work and it's quite stressful, and I really enjoy it. But there are also times where shit hits the fan and things go wrong and you've made mistakes and you just have to learn from them. But sometimes they can be really disheartening. Yeah. And it makes you kind of just want to like give up and be like, oh, I'm done with this. I want to sell it. I want to quit. I'm over.
Would you ever sell the business?
Yeah. I'm like, don't get disheartened. No, I would though. But I think I would be interested if the bidder comes in at the right price. Then everything is always for sale.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, not getting disheartened is key. It's okay to feel a little down for a moment. And sometimes I think you need to take a little refresh for yourself and just get back into the swing of it. Because sometimes you're just uninspired, you're over it, sick of it, it's too much stress, and you just have to take a step back and like give yourself a minute.
And what's on the flip side of that? What's been your proudest achievement?
I think it's having a brand that people really love. Like, it's really nice when I go out.
Because it is loved.
It is loved. And like the House of CB girls really are the best. Yeah. And they're really vocal, which is a great thing. And it's lovely to have connections with customers that really care about the brand and really love the brand. And when I go out and I see girls wearing it, like, that's the best feeling, of course. Like, you know, and then when girls are like, oh my God, I love House CB, it's my favorite, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And especially if they have kind of grown up with the brand, then it feels really...
Have you found that there's customers who've been with you from the start to now?
Definitely. And I think that you can kind of see that from, like, we were talking about, from like the bandage bodycon era to like cottagecore. It's like when we were in the club to now, lots of our customers are like mums or doing less clubby things.
Unfortunately.
And so, yeah, we've definitely all grown up together. And I think that's why the brand affinity is so strong. Yeah. Because we grow in tandem with them.
How are you capturing the new audience, the kids?
Yeah, TikTok. But the kids are cool. I like the kids. The younger girls are picking up on like really interesting products. And we do connect to them more so through TikTok than other social media channels. But we find that, like, it's, you know, obviously our brand is still a sexy brand. It's not like for children. But from like 18, you know, late teens, early 20s, from their kind of like formal dresses, that kind of thing is where they're picking up on us. And I think as well, there's maybe some affinity to them seeing it when they were younger and couldn't wear it. Like maybe their older sister was wearing it or whatever. And then now it's like, oh,
my turn.
Yeah, this is the grown-up brand I want to be part of.
Before you go, what is next for Conna Walker?
Well, we're going to open a bunch of stores in the next year or two. We are working back into our Oxford Street store that's actually going to be all 4 floors.
Wow.
It's going to have our first ever bridal suite.
Oh my God.
So our bridal collection is currently just online. And so we're going to have our first bridal suite.
How is that for brides? Isn't that hard?
Yeah. The thing is, I really wanted to create a really lovely, beautiful experience where you can go and try dresses on and have that in-store experience. And in our current stores, we don't have that. And I didn't want to sacrifice that. No. So right now, our bridal is only online, but we're going to have that nice.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
Yeah. And then we're opening another store in LA, a new store. And then we've got some really fun new product lines and maybe some collabs coming next year that I think will be really fun. So yeah.
Well, you are amazing, Conna, and you've achieved all of this at such a young age.
Thank you for having me.